Hi everyone! Today I'm going to be showing you my ever-growing orchid collection. I'm so excited to show you all of the orchids that I have gathered throughout this year. Specifically, I went a little bit crazy. The first portion of this video is going to be the in bloom section, and I did film it last month. The footage is really shaky and I'm so sorry about that. I can't refilm it though because the same plants aren't in bloom anymore, and I really want you guys to see the flowers. So I am refilming everything else other than the in bloom portion. I hope you can still enjoy it because that is the part with the flowers. And then for all the rest of the orchids, I'm going to include photos of their flowers if I have them. But yeah, I hope you enjoy the tour. So we're gonna jump right into the in bloom portion, and then after that, after we get out of my kitchen, everything else is from today. So it's my current collection, which also has grown a lot since I filmed that section of my video. And I was gonna need to add on a bunch of orchids anyways. So yeah, long rant over, but here we go. So this is my south facing window. This is where I place my orchids when they bloom so that people other than me can enjoy them, because this is in my kitchen. So you can see almost all of the orchids here are in bloom. And right now I put the blinds facing downwards so that hopefully you can see the orchids better, because with the backlight it's kind of hard to like show their color and everything. But starting over here, this is my Yvonne something. This is a Phalaenopsis, and it is my most unique Phalaenopsis that I own. It's humongous. The leaves are jabungo, and this is the kind where you don't cut off the stems because they keep blooming on those stems. And I think this is absolutely beautiful. I know its name has something to do with tiger because of the patterning on the flowers. And I love the shape of the flowers. I love how they have kind of a star-like shape to them. They're just so gorgeous. And moving on, this orchid here is a rescue, as you can tell by how struggling it looks. It's doing well. It's doing well, but I don't know what color it is. I don't really know anything about it. I just know that it's a Phalaenopsis. I don't even remember how I got it, but he's there living his best life. And here is a Phalaenopsis that also was a rescue orchid. I'm gonna try and show you better clips because it's really dark, so you can't see the flowers that well. But honestly, this orchid, I don't love its flowers. I'm not crazy about them. The reason why I love this orchid is it's the first one that I've ever been able to revive and then help it bloom. And as you can see, it has 2 flower spikes on it, which this is the first time I've ever gotten 2 flower spikes. I'm so excited about it. Like, this is all me. I helped this baby to bloom. I revived it. It used to look like this one pretty much, and now look at it. It's doing amazing. The only thing though is I need to work on putting the spikes, like making the flowers look pretty. That's what I'm really struggling with. This is like the next thing that I want to work on, is making the flowers look nice, like have them cascade in a beautiful way. Right now it's just kind of weird. And also 2 buds did blast on this flower spike, so you can see there's 2 like missing flowers on here. So I was so excited, like every day I was like, oh my gosh, look, it's blooming. And then 1 bud blasted and I was so sad. And then another bud blasted and I was also so sad. But the rest of the flowers made it out okay. So it's fine. I think the reason that they blasted is because I overwatered it. Because I just got so excited. I was like, I'm not gonna let these flowers die. And then guess what? That's what caused the flowers to die. So, you know, it be like that sometimes. But other than that, I love this plant just because it's my first orchid that I've ever loved. I think this is the orchid that made me love orchids. Like, ever since I got it to bloom, I was like, oh my god, this is the coolest thing ever. So yeah, this is the reason why I'm spending all my money on orchids. Great. Next, I also got this orchid to bloom. I'm gonna put the name of it because I have another version of this orchid. This one I got at Norman's Orchids. I did film that tour. This is a mini Phalaenopsis. I wasn't aware of that when I bought it, but now I am aware. And I definitely could have looked it up before I bought it, but you know, I'm just a lazy girl. And the reason why I love this orchid is its leaves are variegated, and I thought that was so cool. I am a sucker for orchids with cool leaves because a lot of the time they don't have flowers on them, so like I want something cool to look at. I want some nice looking foliage, so that's why I love this plant. And I do have a duplicate. The other one that I have is also in bloom, but that's because I bought it at Walmart, and I don't like having duplicate plants. I didn't know that the flowers were going to look the same. I didn't know it was the same exact orchid. Obviously the Walmart one wasn't labeled and this one hadn't bloomed yet, so I didn't really know if they were the same, but it turns out they are. Like I said, I didn't even know this one was a mini Phalaenopsis, so it was kind of a surprise to me, but I still love it. So I don't know, I don't like having duplicates like I mentioned, so I'm thinking about what to do with the other one. I feel more connected to this one because I got it to bloom. You can see right here, this is the bud that blasted, and I think this one is from underwatering because I didn't want to do what I did to this orchid right here. I wanted all the buds to not blast, so I didn't go crazy on the watering. Instead, I went a little too under on the watering, and I got a bud blast at the end. But if I remove the little nub, I don't think it'll be that noticeable, so I'm not that mad at it. Okay, and looking at it from this side, there's a little stick here which I thought was gonna keep growing and maybe have more flowers on it, because I know that mini Phalaenopsis put on more of a show than the larger ones, so I thought that it would, I don't know, just grow out more flowers. So far it hasn't grown, but there is a little nub on the top, like 2 nubs on the top, and I don't know if you can see them there. There's one there and there's one there. Sorry, my hands are very shaky, and I'll try to fix it. But yeah, I don't really know if they're gonna do anything. I'm hoping they're gonna grow because those 2 nubs are new, so I really want to have like more of a flower show on this one. And I did bloom this one, so I'm very proud of it as well. Oh, I also bloomed that one, the first one that I showed you guys. So these 3 I bloomed all on my own, which is not the same story for this guy right here. This is my newest orchid, and I have had a big problem with wanting to buy every orchid that I see. This one I bought because I liked the shape of the flowers, which is kind of weird. I don't even really like the coloring. It came in a gray pot, but I put it in this pink one because I feel like it brings out the pink more in the flower and it just looks a lot prettier. So this is yellow with pink speckling, and it was like $15 at Walmart. It was struggling, as you can probably tell by how the flowers look. I didn't get this too long ago, so like on paper it should still look pristine, but in actuality it doesn't really look that good because it was not taken care of that well. But usually when I buy orchids, I don't care how the flowers look when I buy it, because my goal is to rebloom it and make it look really nice, if that makes sense. And then over here, this is my Dendrobium. I literally just today cut off the rest of the flowers. So I put them in this little thing because they're really pretty and they look really cute. But it has a new growth coming in, and I'm so excited about that. So I guess it makes sense that the flowers died off as the new growth came in. So I'm very excited. And then here in the back-ish, this is another Phalaenopsis. This one is a mini Phalaenopsis. I like mini Phalaenopsis because I feel like the stems on regular ones are just too long. So these ones are very cute and small. This one I have 2 of as well. It smells like lemony, like a really nice lemony scent, citrusy. So I really like this orchid. I specifically bought it because of the leaf color. It's so pretty. I also am a really big fan of these flowers. I think that they're so pretty, which is a huge bonus because beautiful flowers and beautiful leaves, like, yes, that's exactly what I want. And it smells really nice. So I love that. So yeah, that's my second duplicate orchid that I have, the exact same orchid. I don't have a name for this one, unfortunately. I got it from a garden center. One of them I bought full price, and then I went to the same garden center again, and they had another of the same orchid, but it was on clearance, so of course I had to buy it. So that's what I did. That's like literally the same exact story as what happened at Walmart, but now I kind of regret having 2 orchids of the same exact flowers and everything, but I know I would have regretted it if I didn't buy it, so that's fine. Here, this orchid I purely bought because I love the flowers. I bought it at Vaughn's. Vaughn's recently has been having such a good orchid selection. I don't know what's going on there, but I absolutely love the flowers on this. I know that white orchids aren't very like novel, they're not novel or anything, but I don't know, the shape of this one's flowers and the little splash of yellow in the center, it just called out to me, so I bought it. And something funky is going on here. I don't really know what is going on, but you can see there's a flower spike in the center. I hope it's not like, I hope that doesn't mean that the orchid is gonna die. I noticed that when I was in line waiting to pay for it, but I still got it. The roots looked healthy when I bought it. That's why I chose this one specifically. And this is the one that I saw and I was like, oh my god, those flowers. But there was others of the same kind. It's just this one I specifically wanted. And I don't know if that was a mistake, because there's like a leaf and a flower stem growing in the center, and I feel like that's not a good sign. But anyways, those are all the orchids that I keep on my south-facing window. Like I said, I usually don't have the blinds facing down like this because it does let in a bit too much sun, like there would be burns everywhere. Usually I keep it like this, but you can see it's not as easy to see what's going on. So just for video purposes, I folded it down. But yeah, that's it for my blooming orchids pretty much. So those are all my orchids in bloom, and now we're gonna get into everything that's unfortunately not in bloom. But this orchid I did a repotting video on, and it lives in my north-facing window. It is putting out a new leaf though. I'm not sure how big it will turn out to be. And I really love this pot and everything. I specifically chose this orchid for its flowers, so I want it here to display. And this is the only orchid in my room that is growing by natural sunlight. So we'll see how she does and if I have to end up moving her. Moving on to my little cabinet. There's 3 orchids in here. So right here, this is an orchid that I just potted. This is my, I got it from Lowe's, and I did a video on the repotting for it because it had a bunch of root rot. So I put it in here to hopefully help it out a little bit more. Normally I would just put it under my grow lights on my other shelf, but I was like, you know what, we'll give it a little bit of extra help. It's a little bit crowded in here. But over here, this is my Cattleya. This is a Cattleya, and I believe it's supposed to be pink. It's gonna be a pink flower, so I'm really excited. This is the newest shoot that came out, and it's really, I need to stake it because it's all crazy. I have no idea how long it's gonna take until it blooms, but I feel like it's gonna be a while. And then over here, this big mama, has this huge new growth that recently came out. This is my PCV key lime star. So it's supposed to have like a greenish kind of flower. It's gonna be really pretty when it blooms. I recently repotted it and I'm super proud because I was worried about how it would take the repotting, but it shot out all of this growth, so it's taking it really well. And this orchid over here I got in 2020 in North Carolina, and it's a Dendrobium mimiense. I've never seen it bloom. I used to keep it under my grow lights on my other shelf, but it wasn't really growing. It just put out these tiny, like you can see all the small growths. That's what it was giving me. Once I put it in here, it started shooting out all of these growths. This is the current one it's putting out. It's also putting out this small one down here. I don't know if you could see them right there and right there. So it absolutely loves this cabinet. I do not know what the flowers look like because I'm not 100% sure that is the name. I checked the video that I filmed in North Carolina and this is the name that it had, but I don't really know for sure. We'll see whenever it blooms. And then here, this is my Orangeous Ludio alba. It is gonna have some really cute, beautiful white flowers. They're gonna be so adorable, very darling whenever they decide to grow. I have no idea when this is gonna bloom. I feel like it's gonna be a long time as well. I've had a kind of like learning curve for this orchid specifically because I feel like it looks kind of struggling a little bit, but it's putting out a new leaf, so I don't know, we'll see. And then below down here, this is my orchid that I got at Andy's Orchids, which I'm gonna go to his next open house, Hookaglossum flavescens, and it's such a gorgeous flower. I've showed it to you guys whenever I hauled it. I love this orchid so much, and it's growing. It's put out 3 leaves, put out 3 leaves so far. Yeah, I love this orchid. It's so cute. I love that it's mounted. And then over here, this, I don't know why, but I'm so freaking proud of these labels that I made myself. So this is a Sideria japonica, and it's just growing. Look at all these roots it's putting out. It's doing real well. Yeah, I really enjoy mounting orchids, like not mounting them, but mounted orchids. So I have been collecting wood to mount some other phals onto, so maybe I could keep them outside, and then I don't know, I love them. I love mounted orchids. So we got those 2. Those are all the orchids I have in here, which is more than I remembered that I had. I used to only have these 2 in here, but now to the orchid shelf. So here is my orchid shelf, which has, well, it used to hold all of my orchids. There's some more sprinkled around here. This one right here is a Paph. I got it at an Armstrong. I was really shocked to see them. They were so pretty. And this one, oh my gosh, the flower on this one is so freaking cute. It's a mini Paph. I think it's called a mini Paph, but it has 2 new growths coming in, so I'm very excited. I have never had a Paph not bloom for me, so I'm expecting that one to give me some flowers someday. And this one is the same one that I have in the kitchen. So it's another duplicate. This is the one that was on clearance at Green Thumb. And I don't know if I mentioned it, but I bought it because of these gorgeous leaves. I love these leaves. That's why I fell in love with Paph, because of their leaves. This is another Paph that I got from Orchid Fever. It has like a dark flower. I don't even remember how it looks, honestly, but this really needs to be repotted. It has a new growth, I think 2 new growths. I'm worried it's not gonna bloom. Oh my gosh, right here, this is a mini Mark Phalaenopsis, and it has a flower spike. So I'm keeping it here to try and get the flower spike to look how I want it to look. So I feel bad for this Paph that I have under here. This is the dead side. So it's not dead, don't worry. But this is the alive and beautiful side growing out. Gonna give me a beautiful pink flower. It's gonna be a beautiful, gorgeous pink flower. And this has really gorgeous dark leaves as well. I'm very excited to see this one bloom again. I got this one at Norman's Orchids. I got this one at Norman's Orchids on my birthday, actually. I literally went, he had an open house on my birthday. There wasn't many orchids for some reason, so I had to ask for all the orchids that I got from there. I felt very extra and annoying, but I was not gonna go home empty-handed. And then up here, I got this from Norman's a long time ago. This is a Paph, but as you can see, it kind of has similar modeling. This is a Phalaenopsis, but it has similar modeling to the Paphs, which is why I bought it. I have no idea what the flower is supposed to look like. It put out these 2 leaves in my care, so I love it, and it loves me apparently. I'm so excited. And here I got this Doritis, which I found out is interchangeable for Phalaenopsis, so it's literally just a Phalaenopsis. I got it at Andy's, and I bought it because of its beautiful leaves as well. I have no idea what the flowers are gonna look like, but it has this spot, and I'm gonna be honest, the spot has gotten a little bit bigger. It used to not touch the edge of the leaf. So, and it has one here too. I'm getting kind of worried, so if you have any info on this, please let me know, because if it needs treatment, I want to treat it. I'm worried it's a fungus thing going on. I don't know. I'm worried though. This I got from Norman's. What is this? The Thrixspermum. I have no idea what the flowers look like. I might know, but I forgot. I never got to see them personally. And I'm having a little learning curve on this one as well. It's still growing, so I'm not worried, but I don't know how it's going. And then this is the orchid that I got from Walmart where, oh, it needs water. It needs water. And it's putting out a new flower spike. So we got this guy. And then up here, I'm so excited for this one. Look how gorgeous these leaves are. When I first got it, it only had these 2 bottom leaves, and I was actually, I think it had a bottom leaf under right here where that dead leaf is, and then it fell off and I got very worried. This might be the first leaf it's put out, and it's amazing. I love it. I love how glossy it is. I know it won't last, but for now, I'm just like, oh my gosh. I got this from Norman's, and I'll show you the photo of how the flowers, like a sample flower. It is stunning. It is absolutely stunning. I'm in love. I'm so glad that I bought this orchid. Again, I love these silvery leaves. Always something with the leaves, huh? And then here I have 2 more Paph. This is the first Paph that I ever got. I think I got it in 2019 at a random, I was doing an all-day tour, and this was at Lowe's, and it was only $8. I'm gonna show you guys. I kept the tag just for proof. Clearance for $8. I'm gonna be honest though, like $17.98, that's pretty cheap for this orchid, even if it wasn't on clearance. But this is its new growth. It takes 2 years for this one to put out a flower. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not really that much of a fan of the flower. Like, the weight is not worth the flower spike. It's just plain white and kind of greenish, and that's not what I love to see, but it's okay. It's my first Paph, and I bought it for the leaves. Even back then, I just bought it for the leaves. Actually, back then, I literally only bought orchids for the leaves. And then we have this Paph, which I got, I don't even remember where I got it, but I saw the leaves and I was like, oh, I'm buying. The flower on this one, actually, I don't even remember what flower this orchid has. So we'll see if I can conjure up a photo for you guys. Otherwise,
I need to think more about where I got this orchid from and what's going on with it, because it's putting out kind of a bunch of new growth and it's doing really well. So yeah. Down here, this is one of the rootless orchids that I got at Andy's Orchids, and it put out this whole entire new growth. So it's been growing really well. This is the Maxillaria cuculata. When I noticed how well all the orchids I got from him were doing, like just growing new growths, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going again. Down here I have two orchids. So I have this one, which is my Masdevallia rigens, I think it's called. Yes. Ooh, I remembered Masdevallia rigens. And it put out a new growth right there, this little one, ever since I potted it. And I'm very happy because I was honestly expecting it to die, literally to die, but oh my gosh, it put out a new growth. So it's very encouraging to see all of them putting out new growths. I feel like the orchid whisperer nowadays, even though I know I have a lot to learn, so let's not get too cocky. And then here, I got this one on my birthday as well when I went to Norman's. This is an encyclia, some kind of encyclia. The flowers are supposed to be so stunning. This is my first encyclia ever. I'm worried about not caring for it properly. What I've noticed is that the new buds put out sap, and I think I'm supposed to clean it, but oh my gosh, I don't want to be cleaning this orchid's sap all the time. I will though, because I really want to see those flowers in person on my own personal orchid. Over here, I have this beautiful orchid. I saw it at Smart and Final of all places, and it was kind of, I thought it was expensive. I don't remember how much it was. It was probably like $25, but I'm used to Walmart pricing. I specifically bought it because of these flowers. I don't think you can see the proper color because of the grow lights. I don't think you're going to be able to see the proper color, but I thought it was such a stunning color that I'd never seen before. So I bought it, and I'm just letting it, you know, live its little life here until the flowers come off. They have stayed on for a pretty long time for a store-bought orchid. I don't know why, but usually I expect store-bought orchids flowers to fall off right away, because I will buy them from, like, I don't know, somewhere where they get overwatered, but I'm very surprised this one still looks great. This is the other Masdevallia, and it put out two new growths. It put out this one right here, and now it's putting out this one, this small little baby down there. So I'm so excited, and I'm feeling so great. I love orchids so much. And down here I have another orchid that I got from Andy's, and I put it on this little stake. I'm so proud of this stake that I made myself. Look at all this new growth. I'm so proud of this orchid as well. It's living under all the orchids on my south-facing window. There's also this guy, which is a rescue orchid. I may have shown it before, but I moved it down here to create more space. And I also got this little guy on my birthday because one of you guys recommended that I get a Neophonetia falcata. So I got this one, and I'm so excited. Hopefully it will bloom. I specifically bought this. Someone else also specifically recommended me an orchid. I think it was a bulbophyllum, buckleberry, something like that. But I bought it, and I'm gonna pick it up in like 3 months, I think. It's from Equagenera, so I'm very excited. Oh, and this is the flowers on the orchid that is, I don't remember where I was showing it to you, but they're still alive. Slowly dying though. And by the way, look how much this has grown. This is the Dendrobium. I showed it to you and it was so teeny weeny, and now it's almost, well, not almost as big as the other one, but it's halfway there. Outside, we have my Maxillaria Millennium Witchcraft Magic. I think that's the full name. Maxillaria Millennium Magic Witchcraft. There's so many M's in this name, but it's growing out. I honestly don't think it's gonna bloom this year, but I don't know. I'm kind of a little bit, tiny bit hopeful. Over here, this Jabungo plant is an orchid. I was so stunned when I saw it. It is huge. You guys, the flowers on this are so stunning. There are, I think, 100, I think somewhere, I don't remember how many flowers, but I heard there's a ton of flowers. Well, you can see there's a ton of flowers, but this thing is massive. It was a little bit hard to bring home. It stays outside because it needs a lot of light. It's at the Maxillaria scriptum. I never heard of it until we saw it at the store. So yeah, I love it. And those are all my outdoor orchids. So that is my orchid collection. It has grown so much and I'm so excited to keep growing it. There is one more orchid that's not here. It's at my grandma's, but I still want to show you guys because I rehabbed it and I got it to bloom, and it has these gorgeous white flowers, and my grandma loves white flower orchids, so I just gave it to her. But I still want you guys to see it because I'm very proud of it. This is the white orchid. It used to be a rescue orchid that I gave to my grandma, and this is the one where I was like, okay, I'm gonna get down getting it to bloom nicely, and I did it. This is how I want the flower spikes on all my orchids to be. All the flowers are in one direction. They're in a nice little line. Oh, it just looks so good. I don't know what's going on up here. I leave her orchid outside and I just water it whenever I come over. Let's look at the root system. It's time for some water. It looks really good. That is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any tips or advice or some things you feel like I should know about these orchids that I'm missing, please let me know in the comments down below. But that is it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!